So as of now, this is what we're doing. Okay. So I am beginning the lesson today. You'll see the assignment pop up in just a minute. All right. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull that up for you guys. Okay. And I am uploading the assignment right now. So you guys should see that pop up. Okay, there it is. All right. So this is our first actual assignment that carries on from where we left off with our text. All right. As you guys remember, we were reading the story A Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. And so the first assignment would be lesson 4, which is 9.21. Okay. And the due date for this assignment is posted right here at the top of your assignment next Monday, which is April 20th. Okay, so this class will be conducted just a little bit differently from how our regular class is conducted. I'll just be kind of teaching to this assignment. You will see my cursor move around as you see here, okay, which is where I will be showing you where to either highlight certain things or where important ideas may be located, okay. You'll also see certain things color-coded, like in this part of the text here that we're going to read. All right. And the reason for me color coding those things is because those are important elements of the lesson. All right. So it starts out, guys, with this. Through this lesson's text analysis, students will learn how the narrative point of view contributes to the reader's understanding of the central ideas of madness and obsession. Okay. And I'm sure you guys remember those two central ideas. Those were also covered in paragraphs 1 through 3. And they'll also be covered in paragraphs 4 through 7 as we read today. Additionally, students will continue to consider how Poe makes structural choices regarding manipulation of time, okay? So you might also remember manipulation of time when we talked about that in class, okay? Some of that will come back to your recollection and your memory as we continue with the lesson. Here's our introduction here. In this lesson, students closely read paragraphs 4 through 7 of The Telltale Heart from Upon the Eighth Night, I was more than usually cautious, to feel the presence of my head within the room, and respond to the questions about the text. In this excerpt, the action of the eighth night are slowly revealed as the old man awakens, fearfully, and the narrator plans his next move. Okay? Also, guys, you know that with every lesson, we always have vocabulary. So I have included the lesson vocabulary. The first word is sagacity, which is a noun, the ability to make good judgments or to plan ahead. The second word is suppositions, a noun, assumptions or hypothesis. The third word is vain, an adjective, baseless or worthless. Okay? And next we have paragraphs 4 through 7, reading and discussion. Directions. As you read, remember to annotate your text by boxing in unfamiliar words and vocabulary terms. Also highlight the text for central ideas of madness and obsession. After reading, complete the assignment by responding to the text-dependent questions, okay? So that's just following the same format as we did in class. We're gonna actually read through these paragraphs together. I have them included in your assignment. So the first one is paragraph 4, okay? And remember, you can do things hopefully on your computer, like annotate your text by highlighting, okay? I do have some things here. Let me see if I can activate something that can help me with this function here, okay? So I've selected a highlight function, okay? Here we go. Paragraph 4. Upon the eighth night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than did mine. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers, of my sagacity. Okay, so that's a word that we want to highlight. So you see it there. I've highlighted that word sagacity. Of course, with your annotations, you're encouraged to box it in, but for this purpose right now, Highlighting is the only thing that I'm going to use. Okay, so you can go back if you want to box that word in, which is a familiar task that I know you guys remember from class. Okay, moving on with paragraph 4. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph. And remember that word triumph, guys, means victory. To think that there I was, opening the door, little by little, and he not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved on the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now you may think that I drew back, but no. His room was as black as pitch with the thick darkness, for the shutters were close fastened through fear of robbers. And so I knew that he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept pushing it on steadily, steadily. Okay, remember guys that there's certain parts of the text that you can highlight or you can look at to follow the central idea of madness and obsession. And some of this we have previously discussed in class, right? So I'm going to look at this part here where it says, and so I knew that he could hear the opening of the door, and I kept pushing it on steadily, steadily. Okay, so I'm highlighting this part of the text because this, to me, shows that he's still carrying on with this central idea of obsession. You may also think that it is madness as well, right? Some of these, remember, we categorize as madness and obsession, okay? So it's just based on how you look at it, your outlook on this particular piece of the text, all right? All right, let's move on to paragraph 5. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening, and the old man sprang up in bed, crying out, "Who's there?" Okay, so once again, guys, in paragraph 5, do you see the central idea of madness and obsession being continued in paragraph 5? If so, I encourage you to highlight that part of the text where you feel it's either madness or obsession being continued as a central idea, okay? Going into paragraph 6, I kept quite still and said nothing. For a whole hour, I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime, I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in the bed listening, just as I have done, night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall. Okay, so I did not highlight anything for paragraph 5. I challenge you to do that one on your own. However, when I look at paragraph 6, there's a little piece that I think I want to highlight. And I don't know what you guys think, but I think that this shows obsession, maybe even madness. This part here. For a whole hour, I did not move a muscle. Okay, and I think that that part right there is where I'll stop, right? And I think that in class we did talk about this because we all agreed that if somebody was actually staring at somebody, right? We were talking about this in class, through their bedroom door and not moving for a whole hour, we all agreed that that would be a pretty creepy thing to occur, right? So that shows that this narrator is still carrying on with this ideal of madness and maybe even obsession, depending on how you look at it, okay? Okay. You might also want to look at that last sentence or last part of the sentence where it says, just as I have done night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall. Let's move on to paragraph 7. Presently, I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not a groan of pain or grief. Oh no, it was the low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul when overcharged with awe. I knew the sound well. Many a night just at midnight, when all the world slept, it has welled up from my own bosom, deepening with its dreadful echo, the terrors that distracted me. I say I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart. I knew that he had been lying awake ever since the first slight noise when he had turned in the bed. His fears had been ever sense growing upon him. He had been trying to fancy them causeless, but could not. He had been saying to himself, "It is nothing but the wind in the chimney. It is only a mouse crossing the floor, or it is merely a cricket which has made a single chirp." Yes, he had been trying to comfort himself with these suppositions, but he had found all in vain. This part right here, guys, I know is going to be part of one of your questions. So make sure you keep that in mind. Okay, one of your questions is going to ask you about that word in vain, or that phrase in vain. Okay, so keep that part in mind. All in vain, once again, there it is, because death is in approaching him had stalked with his black shadow before him and enveloped the victim. And it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to feel, although he neither saw nor heard, to feel the presence of my head within the room. Okay? So as we did in paragraph 6, where I showed you, we highlighted for the central idea, we also did that in paragraph 4. I'm encouraging you without my help, okay? And I'm circling around right here with paragraph 7. I'm encouraging you to highlight for central ideas of madness and obsession in paragraph 7. I don't want to show you or give you my thoughts on it. I want you to try to do that for paragraph 7, okay? Okay. Let us go all the way down to the questions, okay? Number 1, and a lot of these questions, guys, as you all know, when we did these in class, they're very self-explanatory, and normally you can find the answers right there in your text. So I'm just going to read through them, and I'm going to encourage you to look back through your text and to locate the answers on your own, okay? If you have any questions, or if you run into problems looking for your responses to the questions, remember we'll have 1 hour per week where you guys can chime in on the homework help hotline, which I am still developing. I should have that up and running by tomorrow. So check your Google Classroom for the homework time. Excuse me, guys. That will be 1 hour per week where we can work together on the questions if you run into any problems, okay? Number 2, what does the use of chuckle reveal about the narrator's feelings in this paragraph? Number 3, how does the narrator respond to the old man's sudden movement? Number 4, how does the narrator respond to the old man crying out? Number 5, why does the narrator not move a muscle for a whole hour? Number 6, why does the narrator pity the old man? 7, explain the narrator's feelings in the following sentence. I knew what the old man felt and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart. What is the purpose of the word although in this sentence? Number 8, what are the old man's suppositions? Remember that word suppositions, guys. That means fears, okay? So in other words, if you're looking to see what his suppositions were, what are his fears? What does he fear the most? Okay, scrolling on down, number 9. Why are the old man's suppositions or fears in vain? Number 10. What does in vain mean in this context? And I did not put a lot of space here between 10 and 11. You can try to space that, guys, and do what you need to do to put your responses there. I'm sorry for that. Number 11, what is the unperceived shadow in the last sentence? And then last but not least, guys, you have a quick right at the end, okay? For the purpose of you working from home, I have lowered the number of sentences for the quick right. Remember, normally I would require you to do no less than 5 sentences, but for the purpose of you working from home, I've asked that you guys only do 3 to 5 sentences. Please give me your best 3 to 5 sentences based on what you've learned from your understanding of today's lesson, okay? And so here's what the question is. How does the narrator's point of view contribute to the reader's understanding of a central idea, okay? So you're looking at his point of view. How does he see things? How does the narrator view things? So look at it through the lens or the eyes of the narrator, right? How does that contribute to our understanding of the central idea of madness and obsession, okay? Does he give us an even deeper insight into his central ideas based off of his point of view? Because remember, he does things not in a way that we would see as being normal, okay? Some of these are a little over the edge and over the top. For the example that we looked at, when he's peeping in through the door and he's standing there for a whole hour without moving a muscle, okay? How does that contribute to the central idea of madness and obsession? That's just one example. There may be more, okay? So guys, I'm going to conclude this lesson right now. Hopefully you all are staying well with you and your families, and everybody is staying safe. I do encourage you guys to continue on with that, okay? So we can all make it back and be back together as soon as all of this is over with, and back comfortably in the classroom at Ecorse High School, okay? As Mr. Barclay always says, it's a great day to be a Raider. I would love for you guys to stay safe, stay strong, all right? And Mr. Simpson will talk to you soon. Don't forget to check Google Classroom for the homework hotline hour, and I will stay in constant communication with you guys. Let me know if you need any help, and good luck with your work. Don't forget there are 2 other assignments listed on Google Classroom for you to complete. We can talk about those 2 as well if you have any other questions going further. Stay safe, stay strong, guys. Peace out.